Hello everyone, this is Ross with Market Traders Daily, and this is today's video analysis for December 6, 2019. Today we're looking at the USDCAD, the US dollar versus Canadian dollar, for today's trade analysis. There's a bunch of stuff to talk about today. First off, news coming up at 8:30 a.m. Eastern US time, about 45 minutes from the recording of this video. News will likely have an impact on this currency pair because of two things. We have Canadian employment data coming out at 8:30, and U.S. non-farm payrolls coming out at the very same time, 8:30 a.m. Eastern U.S. time. So some of that news is going to affect this currency pair. Either it's U.S. news or Canadian news, but that news is going to affect this pair positively or negatively. It could be in both directions. It could whipsaw back and forth because, a lot of news. Anyway, so that's what's coming up 45 minutes or so from now. Before that, let's talk about what's been happening. Of course, obviously, this has been on the left-hand side is the dollar CAD, a downtrend for the past week. It's been moving lower from all the way up around the 1.33 level, just above it, all the way down now into the 1.3175 or so, all the way down into 3160 in the previous daily candle. So it's been moving down. It's a downtrend. It's broken through barriers of support all the way down and currently holding under what was a support, now acting as a resistance, the orange shaded area. Let's zoom in one time here so you can see that. There it is right there, holding underneath the orange zone, 1.318595, currently acting as our resistance. I say it was former support, and we can see that right here where the black circle is, and we can even see former resistance at this same orange zone. And I'm just going to draw another circle and put it right here. And you can see resistance at that same orange shade area. So we know that the orange zone, 3185.95, has been resistance and support. So we expect that this is a barrier. It's broken through that barrier, and the expectation is once it gets through there, we could see it go lower. Now, again, news will likely affect whether it does that or not. 618 fib of the blue trend range, low to high, is at 3151. That's the green shaded area, and of course through there we would look for further movement lower all the way down to the blue zone if the downtrend persists. If we see sell off of the dollar, if we see a rally for the dollar, for the Canadian dollar, we are going to likely see this continue to persist lower through the green zone down to the blue zone. Now, if we have stellar news for the U.S. and poor news for Canada, we could see this turn right back around, go back up, and push back above the orange shaded area or higher. So we need to keep that in mind, especially in the next 45 minutes or so. May be prudent not to trade it until you get through that news and see what happens with that news. But anyway, right hand side of the chart, US dollar, we actually looked at this over the past couple of days. It is bearish. It's a clear downtrend. It has sat into this green zone, 96.95, 97.03 for a couple of days now, 3 days now. This is the third day, sitting into that green zone. We were trying to see if it would bounce up a little bit yesterday. It did a little bit, but nothing extraordinary. We traded the euro based on that. We're sitting 3 or 4 or 5 pips on the euro trade. It may be prudent to go ahead and close out that euro trade prior to the news, get a couple of pips out of it, and just wait to see what happens at the news. That may be the most prudent action at this time. If you're still holding that euro trade from yesterday that we talked about in the trade room, it may be prudent to at least protect profit if you have it on that trade, because we just don't know what's going to happen here. Will the dollar continue to sell off? That would be good news. Well, actually, not be good news for this trade. It would be good news for the sell off on the dollar CAD. Anyway, we're underneath the orange zone. I would say if you're going to sell it, you want to get as close as possible to 131.85 under the orange zone. If you get good news for Canada, poor news for the US, that would be the opportunity. If you get the opposite, then we could be looking for it to go back up. So one other thing to talk about with the dollar CAD is crude oil's been rising. Of course, as crude oil rises, we see the dollar CAD fall. And so the question is, will crude oil continue to rise? It found resistance at 58.30 as it has before. So if crude oil turns around and goes back down, we could see the dollar CAD go back up. If crude oil continues to go up, we'll look for the dollar CAD to go down. So we have a number of things to think about when we're trading dollar CAD today. Crude oil rising, will it continue to rise? Dollar CAD falling, will it continue to fall? And we're looking for it to stay underneath that orange zone on the dollar CAD. So a lot of things to think about. Probably prudent to wait until after the news to make your trading decision. If it comes out with positive for both countries or negative for both countries, we may see a wash. So just be careful and use appropriate risk strategies in all trade scenarios.
From Forex Traders Daily, this has been your daily analysis with Ross Mullins. If you would like to get Ross's analysis on all the currency pairs he's watching and all the trades he takes today, join him in his live trade room by clicking on the link below. Please leave any comments you have about today's video in the comments section below.